It has been another hour and this is looking amazing. And I do believe it's cooked through. This knife is going through like butter. It is perfect. Stay tuned for a taste test. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I have made the sugar salt magic cheesy potato bake recipe that I found online. There's a few substitutions. However, I think it's come out beautifully. I need to warn you, this took 2 hours in the oven and it was extremely labor intensive to get started, but it looks delicious. I've got the recipe here on this phone. It's by Sugar Salt and Magic. It's the cheesy potato bake. And let's go through the ingredients. I've got 2 substitutions. The first substitution is we need 1.4 kilograms of potatoes. The substitution is I am using sweet potatoes. Then we need 75 grams of bacon, roughly chopped, 1 minced clove of garlic, 3 finely sliced spring onions, 1/4 cup of unsalted or salted butter, 1/4 cup of plain flour. We've got self-raising, so that's actually the third substitution. 1/2 cup of chicken stock, 1 1/4 cups of whole milk, 1 1/4 cups of double cream. That would be 310 mils, that's 300 mils there. Then we need a tablespoon of fresh thyme. I don't have fresh thyme, but I do have Italian herb spice. And it's not fresh, it's dried, but that is the second substitution. So first, sweet potatoes instead of normal potato. Second is self-raising flour instead of all-purpose flour. And third is dried Italian herbs instead of fresh thyme. Then we also need some salt and pepper and 2 cups of grated cheddar cheese. Step number 1 is we preheat the oven to 160 degrees Celsius, and then we are going to peel and thinly slice all of these potatoes. $1.4 kilograms of potatoes is a lot. The thing is, the next step is for me to bring these potatoes to the boil for only 2 minutes. But I don't have a pot big enough to boil all of these potatoes, so I am skipping this step. I hope that it's not detrimental to the recipe. However, I also think that sweet potatoes cook a little bit faster than normal potatoes. So I've got these soaking in a bit of water. The top ones are not in water at all. And the next step is for me to make the sauce. Let's get going. For the sauce, I need to weigh out 75 grams of this bacon, dice it up, saute it until it's golden, and then add the spring onions and the garlic. This dish is not going to be big enough, so I'm putting it away. Right, here's the bacon roughly diced. I had to maneuver all kinds of ways because the scissors I was using are blunt, which is so frustrating, but bacon's done-ish. I've got the saucepan on. I'm going to add a bit of butter to it, turn it on, and get the bacon frying up. Bacon's in. See, that's browning well. I don't have a mincer, so I've just finely sliced up the garlic, but I think that'll be fine. So it says that I need to saute this for just a minute, then we're going to add in the butter and the flour and start making the sauce. This looks good. I think that I'm going to turn the heat off because that'll stay hot for it to saute for a minute, and I need to prep what's happening next. I've been busy prepping in the background. Here is the chicken stock getting ready for the sauce. Here is 58 grams of butter that I am putting in to slowly start melting. Then the next step is to add this double cream to the milk, and then I need to portion out the flour. We need 35 grams of flour, so 35 grams is a quarter cup, that's 28, 35 on the dot. I am putting the heat back on really low because we now need to melt the butter, add the flour, cook the flour in the butter for about a minute so that the raw flour taste disappears, and then add the chicken stock. That's what's going on in here. Once the chicken stock is added, we'll make the paste. And once the paste is lump free, we'll begin to add the milk and cream mixture and get that to thicken. I'm adding in the flour. The flour is all blended in with the melted butter, and I've just put the heat up a little bit to cook that flour for half a minute, and then I am adding in the chicken stock. So the chicken stock is also going to help to deglaze all those little brown bits off of the bottom of the pan. It's already starting to thicken. In goes the cream. I've made many sauces like this before in the past, and I know that you just need to keep on stirring. Really thick. Time for me to add the next bit of cream in and stir continuously while it thickens. We've just got a little bit left, and I've made a little bit of a mess, but I'll clean that up just now. And that's the last bit. Letting this thicken up, and the next step is for us to add the salt, pepper, and the substituted thyme, which is dried Italian herbs. Turning the heat up a bit because this is taking a while to thicken, but again, I know continuously stirring is the key. I'm scared to leave it on the heat while it is still thickening up, but I want to add the salt and pepper now. First up, the Italian herbs, then the salt, the pepper. Have a look, and I'm putting it back on the heat. I can feel it starting to boil, and as soon as those bubbles form, I'm taking it off the heat. It smells really good. And it's boiling, so I'm turning that heat off. I think the most appropriate dish for this is my gigantic cast iron pot that I brought in my luggage from South Africa. I'm just going to use this old butter paper to just grease this up a little bit so that the potato bake doesn't stick. I also need to grate 2 cups of cheddar cheese. This is a 400 gram package, so I'm thinking that 200 grams should be enough. And then we get to start layering. I've already washed these scissors in case you were wondering about the bacon. It's about half the slice. So the instructions are first to pour 1/3 of the sauce into the base of our baking dish and spread it all around. Spread it around, then layer 1/3 of the potatoes on top. This is about 1/3 of the potatoes, a step that was not in the recipe. I have put salt and pepper on, and now we need to put 1/3 of the cheese. We'll sprinkle 1/3 of the cheese onto this layer, and then we go in with 1/3 of the sauce again. And now to do the sauce. And the next layer of potatoes. I sincerely hope that this is enough sauce in here, but this is a huge potato bake. I am going to be putting it in the oven now. The oven's preheated at 160 degrees, and it stays for half an hour to 45 minutes until it starts to turn golden on top. Well, here goes. It's been an hour and this is looking fantastic. To test its cook through. Oh no, it is definitely not cooked through, but I'm so glad that there's enough liquid and sauce in here. It honestly looks like it's a lot of fat in here. It's gonna go in for another 45 minutes, I think. It has been another hour and this is looking amazing. And I do believe it's cooked through. This knife is going through like butter. It is perfect. My opinion here is it looks beautiful. However, we don't have serving spoons. Wasn't able to serve it in the layers. And also it looks to me like the ingredients have separated. But the important thing is, how does it taste? This is worth the effort. However, I would actually just make half of this recipe because this is a ridiculously large amount of potato bake. I'm not complaining. Paul and I will be eating it for the next few days. I'm sure we don't mind doing that. It's delicious. I think you should try it. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to like, comment and subscribe below. Your views really matter to me.